The emergency alarm blared through the corridors of Aegis Hub, its urgent wail echoing off the metallic walls. Commander Adrian Hunter's boots thundered against the floor as he sprinted towards the command center, his breath coming in short, controlled bursts. The station's artificial gravity seemed to press down on him with each step, a constant reminder of the precarious nature of their existence in this distant sector of space. As the doors to the command center hissed open, Hunter was greeted by a scene of controlled chaos. Holographic displays flickered with real-time data streams, casting an eerie blue glow over the faces of the assembled leaders. Human officers hunched over consoles, their fingers dancing across haptic interfaces as they processed incoming reports. At the center of it all stood Admiral Mia Cruz, her face a mask of grim determination. "Commander Hunter, glad you could join us," Cruz said, her voice tight with tension. "We've got a situation." Hunter's eyes were immediately drawn to the two alien figures flanking the Admiral. To her right stood Kral Thax, a towering Zarkonian warrior, his forearms crossed over his armored chest. The bony ridges on his head seemed to catch the light of the displays, giving him an otherworldly appearance. On Cruz's left was Ambassador Xylos of the Etherians, their translucent gelatinous form pulsing with subtle bioluminescence. "What's happened?" Hunter asked, his mind already racing through possible scenarios. Admiral Cruz's fingers danced over a nearby console, bringing up a holographic map of the sector. Red markers blinked ominously across the display. 2 hours ago, we lost contact with Outpost Sigma and Delta. Simultaneously, we received distress calls from the colonies on Viridian and Stellaris Prime. Hunter felt his stomach drop. Coordinated attacks? Kralthax's gravelly voice filled the room. Indeed, human. The reports indicate a well-organized assault. Multiple ships, advanced weaponry. They struck with precision and brutality. Ambassador Xylos's form rippled, their voice a melodious whisper that somehow carried across the room. Our deep space sensors detected warp signatures consistent with the Bloodspire Consortium. It appears they have expanded their operations into this sector. The name sent a chill down Hunter's spine. The Bloodspire Consortium was notorious throughout the galaxy, a loose coalition of pirates, smugglers, and mercenaries known for their ruthlessness and technological prowess. "Do we have casualty reports?" Hunter asked, dreading the answer. Admiral Cruz's face tightened. "Preliminary estimates are grim. The outposts were completely destroyed. As for the colonies..." She paused, her voice catching. "We're looking at thousands dead or missing. The bastards didn't just raid, they pillaged everything of value and left destruction in their wake." Anger surged through Hunter, his fists clenching at his sides. "Why? Why target us now?" Kralthax's upper arms gestured towards the holographic map. "This sector is rich in resources, Commander. Rare minerals, strategic positioning. Your expansion efforts have not gone unnoticed." Ambassador Xylos pulsed with a soft blue light. "The Consortium likely sees your presence as a threat to their own ambitions. This attack serves dual purposes: to acquire valuable resources and to send a message." Admiral Cruz nodded grimly. "They're trying to muscle in on our territory. Show us and the rest of the sector that they're the top dogs now." The room fell silent for a moment, the weight of the situation pressing down on all present. Hunter's mind raced, analyzing potential strategies and countermeasures. He knew they had to act fast, but they also needed to be smart. The Consortium was not an enemy to be underestimated. "What are our options, Admiral?" Hunter finally asked, breaking the tense silence. Cruz's eyes narrowed. "That's what we need to figure out, and fast. We can't let this stand, but we also can't leave our remaining outposts and colonies vulnerable to further attacks." Kralthax's voice rumbled with barely contained rage. "The Zarkonian Empire stands ready to assist. Our warrior fleets can be here within 2 solar cycles. We will crush these pirates and scatter their remains across the void." Ambassador Xylos rippled with a cautionary red hue. while the Zarkonians... Hey there, hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you do, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel to grow and reach more people. Now let's find out what comes next. Enthusiasm is appreciated. We must consider the diplomatic ramifications. A large-scale military response could destabilize the entire sector, potentially drawing in other factions. Hunter nodded, seeing the wisdom in the Etherean's words. We need a targeted response, something that sends a clear message without escalating into all-out war. Admiral Cruz's eyes lit up with a dangerous glint. What if we set a trap? Let them think they've found another easy target, then hit them with everything we've got? The idea sparked a flurry of discussion. Kral Thax rumbled his approval, while Ambassador Xylos pulsed with cautious optimism. Hunter found himself nodding along, his tactical mind already formulating potential strategies. It could work, he said, but we'd need to make it convincing. The consortium isn't going to fall for an obvious ploy. Cruz smiled, a predatory expression that reminded Hunter why she had risen to her current rank. Oh, we'll make it convincing, all right. We'll give them exactly what they're looking for, a juicy target that's too good to pass up. Over the next hour, the assembled leaders hashed out the broad strokes of their plan. They would set up a decoy outpost, one that appeared to be a vital link in their supply chain. It would be defended just enough to be believable, but not so much as to deter an attack. Meanwhile, they would prepare a devastating counterattack, drawing on every resource at their disposal. As the meeting drew to a close, Hunter felt a mix of anticipation and dread. They were taking a significant risk, but the potential payoff was worth it. If they could deal a decisive blow to the Bloodspire Consortium, it would secure their position in the sector and avenge the lives lost in the initial attack. Admiral Cruz addressed the room one final time, her voice filled with steel. I don't need to tell any of you how high the stakes are. This isn't just about protecting our interests. It's about showing the galaxy that humanity and its allies are not to be trifled with.
We've carved out our place among the stars, and we'll be damned if we let a bunch of pirates take it from us. Kral Thax slammed his fists together in a gesture of solidarity. The Zarkonian Empire stands with you, Admiral. These criminals will learn to fear the combined might of our peoples. Ambassador Xylos pulsed with a determined yellow light. The Ethereans, too, will lend our full support. Our sensor arrays and cloaking technologies are at your disposal.
Hunter felt a surge of pride as he looked around the room. This unlikely alliance, humans, Zarkonians, and Ethereans, represented the best of what they could achieve together. Despite their differences, they stood united against a common threat. As the meeting adjourned, Hunter approached Admiral Cruz. Ma'am, I'd like to volunteer to lead the ground team for this operation. I know the risks, but I can't sit this one out. Cruz studied him for a moment, then nodded. I had a feeling you'd say that, Adrian. All right, the ground team is yours, but I want you to handpick your squad. We can't afford any weak links. Hunter saluted crisply. Understood, Admiral. We won't let you down. As he left the command center, Hunter's mind was already racing with preparations. He had a team to assemble, equipment to requisition, and strategies to formulate. The Bloodspire Consortium had no idea what was coming for them. In the days that followed, Aegis Hub became a hive of activity. Every available resource was poured into preparing for the upcoming operation. Engineers worked around the clock to modify ships and weapons. Intelligence officers pored over every scrap of data on the consortium, and combat teams ran endless simulations to prepare for every possible scenario. Hunter threw himself into the preparations with single-minded focus. He handpicked his ground team, selecting a mix of seasoned veterans and promising young talent. Each member brought unique skills to the table, from demolitions experts to tech specialists to close-quarters combat masters. As they trained, Hunter pushed his team to their limits and beyond. They ran drill after drill, simulating every possible contingency. He knew that in the heat of battle, it would be this preparation that kept them alive and ensured mission success. One evening, As Hunter was reviewing tactical data in his quarters, he received an unexpected visitor. Ambassador Xylos glided into the room, their form pulsing with a soft, calming light. "Commander Hunter," the Etherean's melodious voice filled the space. "I hope I am not interrupting." Hunter stood, offering a respectful nod. "Not at all, Ambassador. What can I do for you?" Xylos's form rippled, a gesture Hunter had come to recognize as their equivalent of a sigh. "I wanted to speak with you about the upcoming operation. While I understand the necessity of our actions, I cannot help but feel concerned." Hunter's brow furrowed. "Concerned about what, specifically?" "About the potential for escalation," Xylos replied. "The Bloodspire Consortium, for all their brutality, are not fools. They will recognize this as a deliberate strike against them. Have we truly considered the long-term consequences of such an action?" Hunter considered the ambassador's words carefully. It was a valid concern, one that had crossed his own mind more than once. "You're right, Ambassador. We have to assume that the consortium will retaliate. But we've also seen what happens when we allow groups like this to operate unchecked. They grow bolder, more aggressive. Sometimes a show of force is necessary to maintain peace in the long run." Xylos pulsed with a thoughtful white hue. "Perhaps you are right, Commander. It is not the Etherean way to seek conflict, but we recognize that sometimes it finds us nonetheless. I only hope that this action will lead to greater stability in the sector, not further chaos." As the ambassador turned to leave, Hunter felt compelled to add one last thing. "Ambassador Xylos, I want you to know that we appreciate the Etherean's support in this. Your people's commitment to peace and diplomacy is admirable, and it's a reminder of what we're fighting to protect." Xylos's form shimmered with what Hunter had come to recognize as their version of a smile. "Thank you, Commander. May your mission bring justice and restore balance to our sector." As the door closed behind the ambassador, Hunter turned back to his tactical displays. The conversation had reinforced the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. This wasn't just about revenge or even justice. It was about securing a future where humans and their allies could thrive among the stars. With renewed determination, Hunter dove back into his preparations. The Bloodspire Consortium had made a grave mistake in underestimating humanity and its allies. Soon, they would learn just how costly that mistake would be. Meanwhile, the Bloodspire Consortium's flagship, Bloodtide, drifted silently through the void, its hull a patchwork of stolen technology and battle scars. Deep within its bowels, in a chamber bathed in the eerie crimson glow of emergency lighting, the leaders of the most feared pirate coalition in the sector gathered to plan their next move. Captain Varkor, a towering Kralovar with mottled gray skin and cybernetic enhancements snaking across his skull, paced the length of the holographic display table. His 4 eyes, each a different shade of yellow, scanned the faces of his fellow captains. Some were familiar allies, others newly recruited to the consortium's cause. All were united by the promise of untold riches in this new sector. "Our first strike against the human expansion has yielded impressive results," Varkor rumbled, his voice a guttural growl that sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened criminals present. With a wave of his hand, he brought up a holographic display of their recent conquests. 2 outposts razed, 2 colonies stripped bare. The Hall of Resources and Technology will keep our coffers full for cycles to come. A chorus of approving grunts and hisses filled the chamber. Captain Vislar, a lithe saurian with iridescent scales, leaned forward, her forked tongue flicking out to taste the air. The humans were caught completely off guard. Their defenses crumbled like sandcastles before the tide. Varkor nodded, a predatory grin splitting his face. "Indeed. And now we strike at the heart of their operations in this sector." He manipulated the holographic display, zooming in on a massive space station orbiting a gas giant. Aegis Hub, the linchpin of human expansion efforts. Our spies report that in the wake of our attacks, they've diverted significant resources to fortify this position. The assembled captains leaned in, eyes gleaming with avarice as they studied the station's defenses. It was an impressive target, a prize that would cement the Bloodspire Consortium's dominance in the sector and cripple human efforts for years to come. As the captains began to discuss potential attack vectors, a voice cut through the excited chatter. "We shouldn't do this." The words, spoken softly but with unmistakable conviction, caused a ripple of surprise to spread through the gathering. All eyes turned to the source. Captain Krelvon, a veteran of countless raids and one of the Consortium's most respected tacticians. The Volcrin's bioluminescent tendrils pulsed with an uneasy rhythm as he met Varkor's questioning gaze. "Explain yourself, Krelvon," Varkor growled, his tone a mixture of curiosity and warning. Krelvon moved to the holographic display, his tendrils weaving intricate patterns in the air as he spoke. "I've studied the humans extensively. They are unlike any species we've encountered before. Their history is steeped in conflict, their very nature forged in the crucible of adversity." He brought up images of human battles throughout history, ancient warriors clashing with swords, tanks rolling across war-torn landscapes, starships engaging in furious dogfights. They are relentless, adaptable, and fiercely protective of what they consider theirs. And make no mistake, they view this entire sector as their territory now. Captain Vislar hissed dismissively. "We've faced tough species before. The humans are no different. They'll break like all the rest." Krelvon shook his head, his bioluminescence flaring with urgency. "You don't understand. The humans don't just fight, they wage war on a scale that defies comprehension. When threatened, they unite with a singular purpose that transforms them into an unstoppable force." He pulled up data from their recent attacks. "Look at the casualty reports. Yes, we caught them off guard, but for every human we killed, they took down 3 of ours. Their soldiers fought to the last breath, buying time for civilians to escape. And those civilians, they took up arms alongside their defenders, fighting with a ferocity that shocked even our most hardened warriors." Varkor's eyes narrowed. "What are you suggesting, Krelvon? That we abandon our plans out of fear?" "I'm suggesting we reconsider our targets," Krelvon replied, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. "There are easier prizes in this sector, ones that won't bring the full wrath of humanity down upon us. Because make no mistake, if we continue down this path, the humans will not rest until they've hunted every last one of us down." A heavy silence fell over the chamber as the captains digested Krelvon's words. For a moment, doubt flickered across some of their faces. But then, Captain Vislar let out a mocking laugh. "I never took you for a coward, Krelvon," she sneered. "These humans are soft, pampered creatures who've grown fat on the riches of their expansion. They've never faced a true threat like the Bloodspire Consortium." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the gathering. Varkor raised a hand, silencing the room. "Krelvon, your concerns are noted, but we've come too far to turn back now. The humans have something we want, and we will take it. That's what we do. That's who we are." He turned to the rest of the captains, his voice rising with fervor. "Think of the glory that awaits us. We'll be the ones who brought low the mighty human empire. Songs will be sung of our deeds for generations to come." A cheer went up from the assembled pirates, drowning out any lingering doubts. Krelvon looked around the room, his bioluminescence dimming with resignation. "Then you've sealed our fate," he said quietly, though his words were lost in the cacophony of excitement. As the other captains crowded around the holographic display, eagerly discussing attack plans, Krelvon slipped away from the gathering. He made his way through the twisting corridors of the Blood Tide, his mind racing with the implications of what was to come. In his quarters, Krelvon began to make preparations. He may not be able to stop the Consortium's mad plan, but he would not be a part of it. As he packed what few possessions he valued, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was witnessing the beginning of the end for the Bloodspire Consortium. Back in the war room, oblivious to the departure of their most experienced tactician, the pirate captains finalized their audacious plan. Varkor's voice boomed over the excited chatter, laying out the details of their impending assault on Aegis Hub. "We'll hit them hard and fast," he growled, manipulating the holographic display to highlight key targets. "Our first wave will focus on their outer defenses. We'll overwhelm their sensor arrays and communication relays, cutting them off from any potential reinforcements." Captain Vislar nodded approvingly, her scales shimmering with anticipation. "And while they're scrambling to respond, we'll launch our main assault. I volunteer my ship, the Venom Fang, to lead the charge. We'll punch right through their defensive line and dock directly with the station." Varkor grinned, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. "Excellent. Once we're aboard, we'll split into teams. Some will secure vital systems and neutralize any resistance, while others focus on looting everything of value. Remember, we're not just after resources. We want their technology, their research data, anything that can give us an edge in future operations." The gathered captains continued to refine the plan, each adding their own expertise to the strategy. They discussed contingencies, assigned roles, and set a timetable for the attack. The excitement in the room was palpable. This would be the Bloodspire Consortium's most ambitious operation to date. As the meeting drew to a close, Varkor addressed the group one final time. "We strike in 48 hours. That gives us time to gather our full strength and catch the humans while they're still reeling from our previous attacks. Prepare your crews, check your weapons, and ready yourselves for glory." The pirates cheered, their excitement drowning out the memory of Krelvon's warnings. As they rushed to prepare for the upcoming assault, none realized the true nature of the challenge that awaited them. The humans, far from being the easy prey the Consortium imagined, were poised to unleash a response that would shake the very foundations of their coalition. As the pirate fleet prepared to jump to their target, they remained oblivious to the fact that now the humans know they are under attack, and that they will fight back. The 48 hours of tense preparation had finally elapsed. As the last chronometer ticked over, the Bloodspire Consortium's fleet erupted from hyperspace in a dazzling display of destructive intent. The Bloodtide, Captain Varkor's flagship, led the charge, its hull gleaming with the scars of countless successful raids. Before them lay the human outpost, a modular structure suspended against the backdrop of a swirling nebula. Its defensive satellites orbited in a sparse network, their weapon systems charging to meet the oncoming threat. A small fleet of human ships stood as the first line of defense, their engines flaring as they moved to intercept. "All ships, commence attack pattern Sigma," Varkor's guttural voice boomed through the command channel. "Show these humans the true meaning of terror." The pirate fleet surged forward, a tide of destructive force unleashed upon the seemingly unprepared human position. Laser fire crisscrossed the void, slamming into the shields of the human ships with devastating effect. The outpost's defensive grid came to life, energy beams lancing out to strike the incoming vessels. Captain Vislar's ship, the Venom Fang, led a wing of smaller attack craft in a wide arc, flanking the human formation. "Look at them scramble," she hissed over the comms, her voice dripping with disdain. "Like insects before a storm." The human ships responded with admirable coordination, forming a tight defensive screen around the outpost. Their return fire was precise, several pirate fighters exploding in brilliant flashes as they were caught in the crossfire. For a moment it seemed as though the defenders might hold their ground, but the Bloodspire Consortium had not come unprepared. From the belly of the Bloodtide, a swarm of boarding pods erupted, each one packed with bloodthirsty raiders eager for close-quarters combat. They streaked towards the human ships, latching onto their hulls like metallic parasites. "Breach their hulls!" Varkor roared. "Let's see how well they fight when the void itself becomes their enemy." The battle devolved into chaos as pirates poured into the human vessels. The defenders fought valiantly, but the sheer number of attackers overwhelmed them. One by one, the lights on the human ships flickered and died, their crews silenced by the merciless onslaught. As the last human ship fell silent, the pirates turned their full attention to the outpost. Its defenses, now unsupported by the fleet, seemed to falter. The laser fire became erratic, the shield generators sputtering as they struggled to repel the concentrated assault. "Forward," Varkor commanded, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Victory is within our grasp." The Blood Tide led the charge, its massive cannons tearing through the outpost's weakening shields. Smaller ships darted in its wake, peppering the structure with a relentless barrage of plasma bolts and missiles. The human defenses crumbled under the assault, unable to match the pirates' overwhelming firepower. As the battle raged, the pirates began to notice oddities in the human defense. The outpost's return fire, while initially fierce, began to slacken at a steady rate. The movements of the defensive systems seemed almost predictable. "They're breaking!" Vislar crowed, her ship corkscrewing through a field of debris to launch another salvo at the station. "I've never seen humans fold so quickly." Varkor nodded, a cruel smile spreading across his features. "They underestimated us, thinking their little outpost could stand against our might. Prepare the boarding parties. I want that station stripped bare." As the pirate fleet closed in for the kill, a massive explosion rocked the outpost. One of its main power cores overloaded, taking a significant chunk of the station's remaining defenses offline. The pirates roared in triumph, sensing victory within their grasp. Boarding shuttles launched from the larger ships, protected by screens of fighter cover as they approached the now vulnerable outpost. The remaining point defense turrets fired sporadically, but their efforts were futile against the pirates' onslaught. The first boarding parties breached the outpost's hull, pouring into its corridors with weapons raised. They encountered only token resistance, automated security systems that were quickly overwhelmed by the pirates' superior numbers and ferocity. "Search every compartment," Varkor ordered over the comms. "I want every scrap of valuable technology and data secured. Leave nothing behind." The pirates swarmed through the station, their initial bloodlust giving way to confusion as they encountered empty room after empty room. The few signs of habitation they found seemed hastily abandoned, as if the occupants had fled in a hurry. In the command center, banks of computers ran complex simulations, mimicking the responses of a fully staffed outpost. The pirates, in their eagerness to claim their prize, failed to notice the true nature of their conquest. They saw only an easy victory, their egos inflated by the apparent cowardice of their human foes. "Look at this," Vislar sneered, gesturing to the empty stations. They ran like frightened children at the first sign of real opposition. And here I thought humans were supposed to be brave. Varkor moved through the command center, his massive form dwarfing the human-sized equipment. "Download everything," he growled. "Every scrap of data, every bit of intel. We'll use it to crush the rest of their colonies in this sector." As the pirates ransacked the outpost, stripping it of anything remotely valuable, their confidence soared to new heights. They had faced the much-vaunted human defenses and emerged victorious with barely a scratch. The ease of their conquest only reinforced their belief in their own superiority. "Captain," one of the junior officers reported, "we've secured the outpost. All resistance has been neutralized, and we're beginning to transfer the salvaged materials to our ships." Varkor nodded, his four eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "Excellent. Prepare to move on to our next target. The nearby colony won't stand a chance now that we've crushed their first line of defense." The pirate fleet began to regroup, their ships laden with the spoils of their easy victory. As they prepared to jump to their next target, none of them noticed the faint, encrypted transmissions emanating from the abandoned outpost, carrying vital intelligence to the very targets they sought to ambush. The Bloodspire Consortium's armada moved out, their ships arrayed in an attack formation honed by years of successful raids. They streaked towards the human colony, confident that they had dealt a crippling blow to the humans' defenses in this sector. Their recent victory had only reinforced their sense of invincibility. As they approached the colony, anticipation built among the pirate crews. They could almost taste the riches that awaited them, imagining the terror on the faces of the human colonists as they realized their doom was upon them. "All ships prepare for orbital bombardment," Varkor commanded as they neared their target. Let's soften them up before we go in for the kill. The pirates readied their weapons, eager to unleash another devastating assault. As the colony came into view, they saw no signs of increased defenses or preparation. It seemed that news of the outpost's fall hadn't reached the colonists yet. As Varkor's fleet closed in on what they believed to be their ultimate prize, they could never have imagined that the humans had blinded them to the true nature of the situation. The colony lay before them, seemingly defenseless and ripe for the taking. The pirates prepared to unleash their full fury, anticipating another glorious conquest. But beneath the peaceful exterior, the colony's true defenses waited for the right moment. The Bloodspire Consortium's fleet descended upon the colony like a swarm of locusts, their ships blotting out the sky. Captain Varkor's voice boomed over the comms. "Commence planetary bombardment! Soften these humans up before we claim our prize!" A hail of plasma bolts and energy beams rained down on the seemingly defenseless colony. Explosions rocked the surface, kicking up clouds of dust and debris. As the barrage continued, the pirates grew more confident, their laughter echoing through the command channels. "Look at them scurry!" Vislar cackled, her ship diving low for a strafing run. "Like ants when you kick over their hill!" But as the dust began to settle, an eerie silence fell over the battlefield. The expected scenes of destruction and panic were conspicuously absent. Instead, the colony stood largely unscathed, protected by shimmering energy shields that had appeared out of nowhere. Varkor's eyes narrowed. "What trickery is this? No matter. Prepare for ground assault." Landing crafts streaked through the atmosphere, touching down on the outskirts of the colony. Hordes of pirates poured out, weapons at the ready, eager to seize what they anticipated would be easy prey. They charged forward, their war cries echoing across the landscape. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet erupted. Concealed bunkers opened up, revealing squads of heavily armed human soldiers and their alien allies. Precision fire cut through the pirate ranks, dropping dozens in the first volley. "It's a trap!" screamed a pirate lieutenant, his voice cut short as a plasma bolt found its mark. In the skies above, the human defense fleet materialized, as if from thin air, their stealth systems powering down. Sleek fighters and gunships swarmed the pirate vessels, which were now caught in a deadly crossfire. Captain Varkor roared in frustration. "How is this possible? They were defenseless!" A calm, almost amused voice crackled over the comms. "I'm afraid you've been misled, Captain." It was Commander Adrian Hunter, his holographic image appearing on the Blood Tides bridge. "Welcome to our little surprise party." The human forces and their alien allies unleashed their full might against the Bloodspire Consortium. In the skies above, Commander Miaquan's voice crackled over the comms. "Starburst formation now!" Her fighter squadron executed a daring maneuver, diving straight into the heart of the pirate fleet. At the last second, the squadron split apart in a blazing array of laser fire and missiles, each ship becoming a deadly pinwheel of destruction. The pirates, caught off guard by the audacious attack, scrambled to regroup. But the human pilots were relentless, their movements synchronized with inhuman precision. Captain Varkor watched in mounting horror as his forces were systematically dismantled. "How?" he growled, his four eyes wide with disbelief. "How can they be turning this around?" On the ground, the tide was turning just as dramatically. Pirate shock troops found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Captain Ethan Malone and his mixed unit of human and Zarkian troops found themselves pinned down by a numerically superior force of pirate shock troops. The situation looked grim until Malone's eyes lit up with an idea. "Zarkians! Active camouflage! Humans! Covering fire!" he shouted. As the human soldiers laid down a barrage of suppressing fire, their Zarkian allies seemed to melt into the background, their bodies shifting to match the surrounding terrain. The pirates, focused on the human gunfire, never saw the Zarkians coming. Silent and invisible, the alien warriors moved through the enemy ranks like ghosts, their crystalline blades finding vulnerable spots in the pirates' armor with surgical precision. Human soldiers, working in perfect sync with their alien allies, employed tactics that seemed to anticipate the pirates' every move. In the colony's main plaza, Dr. Clara Monroe, a xenobiologist, led a group of civilian volunteers protecting wounded humans and aliens. As a wave of pirate reinforcements threatened to overwhelm their position, Monroe made a split-second decision. "Everyone, into the research lab!" she yelled, ushering the wounded inside. As the last of them made it through, Monroe activated the lab's experimental shield technology, an unstable but powerful defense that she and her alien colleagues had been developing. The pirates unleashed a barrage of weapons fire, only to watch in disbelief as their attacks were absorbed and redirected by the shimmering barrier. Monroe's eyes gleamed with pride. The fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology had worked better than she'd ever imagined. Vislar's ship, the Venom Fang, pursued what appeared to be a damaged human cruiser. "I've got you now," she snarled, locking on her weapons. Suddenly, the cruiser split apart, revealing it to be a cluster of smaller, heavily armed vessels. They swarmed around the Venom Fang, peppering it with laser fire from all angles. "Impossible!" Vislar screamed as her ship's systems began to fail. "How can they be this coordinated?" The answer came in the form of a massive holographic projection that appeared in the space above the colony. It showed a complex network of interconnected nodes, a visual representation of the colony's AI-driven defense system. Human and alien operators worked in tandem with the AI, their movements a perfect dance of organic and artificial intelligence. Commander Hunter's voice rang out again. "You see, Captain Varkor, we humans have a saying, the best defense is a good offense. But we've taken it a step further. Our best defense is making you think we have no defense at all." As the battle raged on, the human forces began to employ increasingly sophisticated tactics. Lieutenant Kira Yamamoto's fighter squadron executed a series of precisely calculated micro-jumps, boxing in the pirate ships and leaving them with nowhere to run. On the ground, human soldiers utilized their environment in ways the pirates had never anticipated. They used the colony's modular architecture to their advantage, reconfiguring buildings on the fly to create unexpected firing positions and escape routes. The Andorian allies, with their heightened sense of spatial awareness, coordinated with human snipers to create an impenetrable web of crossfire. Every time the pirates thought they had found a safe approach, they were met with a hail of precision fire from multiple angles. In the colony's command center, Commander Adrian Hunter orchestrated the battle with a mix of strategic brilliance and adaptability that left the pirates reeling. He constantly shifted tactics, never allowing the enemy to predict his next move. "Focus fire on Sector 7, Hunter ordered, his voice calm but authoritative. "Luminar cruiser, decloak and provide suppressing fire. Malone, flank them from the east. Let's box them in." The human-led forces moved with a cohesion that seemed almost telepathic. Each race brought its unique strengths to the fight, and under Hunter's leadership, these diverse abilities were woven into an unstoppable force. As the tide of battle turned decisively in favor of the defenders, individual acts of heroism began to shine through the chaos. Private First Class Emily Sato, separated from her unit, found herself protecting a group of alien civilians from a pirate assault team. Armed with only her sidearm and a makeshift barricade, Sato held off the attackers for nearly an hour. Her unwavering courage inspired the civilians, who began to assist her, passing ammunition and tending to her wounds. When reinforcements finally arrived, they found Sato bloodied but unbowed, standing protectively over the diverse group of aliens she had saved. It was a powerful image that would later become a symbol of the human-alien alliance. In the residential sectors, the pirates encountered another surprise. What they had assumed to be cowering civilians revealed themselves as highly trained militia. Everyday objects transformed into deadly weapons. Garden tools became improvised spears, and household chemicals were weaponized into potent explosives. One pirate, cornering what he thought was a helpless family, found himself face to face with a human wielding a makeshift flamethrower cobbled together from kitchen appliances. The look of determination in his eyes was the last thing he saw before being engulfed in flames. Above the planet's surface, the space battle raged with equal intensity. The human ships displayed maneuvers that defied conventional tactics. They moved in complex formations, their trajectories seemingly random yet devastatingly effective. In orbit, the space battle took a decisive turn when the human flagship, the HSS Indomitable, executed a daring maneuver. Captain Camila Duarte ordered her ship to dive straight through the heart of the pirate fleet, its advanced point defense systems creating a tunnel of destruction. "All hands, brace for impact," Duarte shouted as the Indomitable plowed through debris and enemy ships alike. The move split the pirate fleet in two, leaving them disorganized and vulnerable to the coordinated attacks of the human and alien vessels. On the Blood Tides bridge, Varkor watched in horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled. Ships he had thought to be easy targets revealed hidden weapons systems, tearing through his forces with ruthless efficiency. The colony itself seemed to be alive, its buildings reconfiguring to create new defensive positions and firing lines. "Fall back," Varkor bellowed, desperation creeping into his voice. "Regroup and—" His orders were cut short as a barrage of electromagnetic pulses swept through the pirate fleet, disabling their systems. The Blood Tide lurched, its engines sputtering and dying. As the battle turned decisively in favor of the defenders, a new scene unfolded that would sear itself into the memory of every surviving pirate. A group of consortium soldiers had managed to breach one of the colony's outer districts, thinking they had finally found vulnerable civilians to use as hostages. They burst into what appeared to be a school, weapons raised, only to find a mixed group of human and alien children huddled together. A young human teacher stood protectively in front of them, her arms spread wide. "Please," she said, her voice trembling but resolute. "They're just children." The lead pirate sneered, raising his weapon. "Children make excellent bargaining chips." Suddenly, the air shimmered, and a squad of human and Andorian soldiers decloaked, surrounding the pirates. Their weapons were trained on the intruders, but they held their fire, unwilling to risk the children's safety. The standoff lasted for a tense moment before one of the human soldiers stepped forward, removing his helmet. His eyes locked with the pirate leaders. "You have a choice to make," he said calmly. "But know this, if you harm a single hair on these children's heads, there isn't a place in this galaxy where you can hide from us." The conviction in the soldier's voice, the unwavering stance of the defenders, and the quiet sobs of the children created a tableau that struck at something deep within the pirate leader's psyche. He looked from the determined faces of the soldiers to the fearful eyes of the children, human and alien alike, and something inside him broke. Slowly, he lowered his weapon. "Stand down," he ordered his men, his voice barely a whisper. As the pirates surrendered, the human soldier moved swiftly to secure them. The Andorian troops rushed to comfort the children, their antennae gently swaying in a soothing pattern. The scene was a powerful testament to the bond between humans and their alien allies, a bond forged not just in battle, but in compassion and shared values. Outside, the battle was drawing to a close. The remaining pirate ships, those that could still fly, were fleeing the system, leaving behind a graveyard of broken vessels and shattered ambitions. On the planet's surface, pockets of resistance were quickly being mopped up by the combined human and alien forces. As the dust settled on the battlefield, the true strength of humanity and its allies had been revealed. It wasn't just their advanced technology or clever tactics that had won the day. It was their unity, their determination, and above all, their capacity for empathy, even in the face of those who would do them harm. Commander Hunter stood in the colony's command center, surveying the holographic battle map. The last red dots representing the pirate forces were winking out one by one. He turned to his alien advisors, a statuesque Zarkian and a crystalline Luminar, and nodded solemnly. "It's over," he said. "But our work is just beginning." The Bloodspire Consortium had come expecting to find an easy target. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, a coalition of species united under human leadership, bound together by shared values and a common vision for the future. And as the survivors of the pirate fleet limped away into the depths of space, They carried with them a message that would soon spread throughout the galaxy. The humans and their allies were not to be trifled with. This sector of space was under their protection, and they would defend it, and each other, with everything they had. Back on the Blood Tide, Captain Varkor watched his carefully laid plans crumble around him. His crew, once confident and bloodthirsty, now looked to him with fear and uncertainty in their eyes. "Sir," his first officer reported, voice trembling, "we've lost contact with ground forces in sectors 3 through 6. Our fleet is in disarray. What are your orders?" Varkor's mandibles clicked in agitation as he weighed his options. The humans and their allies had proven far more formidable than he could have ever imagined. With a growl of defeat, he opened a channel to his remaining forces. "All units, stand down. It's over." The words seemed to hang in the air for a moment before chaos erupted. Some pirate ships immediately powered down their weapons, while others, driven by desperation or misplaced loyalty, tried to make a run for it. On the ground, the remaining pirate forces found themselves surrounded. Human and alien peacekeepers moved in, their weapons raised but fingers off the triggers. It was a show of force, yes, but also one of restraint, a clear message that unnecessary bloodshed would be avoided if possible. As the last pockets of resistance were quelled, a surreal calm settled over the battlefield. The colonists emerged from their shelters, blinking in the sunlight of a world that had nearly been lost. Human children ran to hug their alien friends, the bonds of their shared community stronger than ever in the face of adversity. Commander Hunter stood in the colony's central plaza, surveying the aftermath of the battle. The cost had been high, buildings lay in ruins, and there were casualties on both sides. But as he watched humans and aliens working side by side to tend to the wounded and begin repairs, he felt a surge of pride. His comm unit buzzed, and Admiral Camilla Duarte's holographic image appeared. "Excellent work, Commander," she said, her eyes gleaming with approval. "But we're not done yet. There's one last message we need to send." Hunter nodded grimly. He knew what needed to be done. With a small team of engineers and communication specialists, Hunter made his way to one of the downed pirate ships, a Corvette-class vessel that was still largely intact. As they approached, he could see the fear in the eyes of the captured crew members being led away by peacekeepers. Inside the ship, Hunter's team worked quickly to bypass the security systems and gain access to the main communication array. The ship's interior was a stark contrast to human vessels, all harsh angles and utilitarian design, with none of the personal touches that human crews tended to add to their living spaces. "We're patched in, sir," one of the technicians reported, "broadcasting on all frequencies used by the consortium, plus general distress channels. Whatever you say, the entire sector will hear it." Hunter took a deep breath, steeling himself. He thought of the colonists who had faced death with courage, of the alien allies who had stood shoulder to shoulder with humanity, of the countless lives across the galaxy that hung in the balance of this moment. When he spoke, his voice was clear and unwavering, carrying the weight of not just humanity, but of the entire alliance they had forged among the stars. "This is Commander Adrian Hunter of the human-led Galactic Alliance. To the Bloodspire Consortium and all who dare follow their path, hear this and remember, we are united. We protect our own. We do not abandon our allies. Harm a human, and you will face not just our wrath, but the unyielding strength of a species that survives, adapts, and overcomes. Test us, and you will learn this truth the hard way. Humanity does not forgive." Hey there again. I'm glad you've come so far. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button. This is really important to the channel. Really important. And I have one more thing for you. I've chosen another video for you to watch. Just click the card here, or here if you want the whole playlist. See you there.